You are tuned in to a 580 Sports Talk Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. We typically do these after every Chiefs game. Have skipped the last couple of weeks due to the holidays. Boy, did we pick a doozy to come back on. Week 18 is in the books. The 2024 regular season is in the books. It's the worst loss in the Andy Reid era. Doesn't really matter. Broncos beat the Chiefs 38-0. It mattered. It meant the world to everybody at Empower Field at Mile High today as the Broncos clinch a playoff spot for the first time since 2015. And they played like that game did mean the world. And the Chiefs played like a team that just wanted a sim to end from the very beginning, and the difference in energy was pretty obvious. I'm Dan Lucero. Brendan Wrzinski is with me for this instant reaction. And there isn't really anything to say about the football game itself. It was what it was, and it has generated some obscenely stupid takes from across the media, the Twitterverse, if you will, from members of the media I otherwise respect, saying some very stupid things about this Chiefs effort. But we'll start with this. This was going to be an opportunity for certain players on this Chiefs team to put some more things on film to try and prove that they could be trusted moving forward into the postseason as the Chiefs await their opponent in the divisional round in 2 weeks. There was a big opportunity today. Did anybody stand out to you as particularly taking advantage of that opportunity, Brendan?
No. Look, man, I mean, they're playing all backups. The game plan was about 3.5 pages long, if that. I mean, it was nothing. I'll give the offensive line credit. You know, you moved Kingsley Suamataia into left guard. That wasn't a complete nightmare. I guess I'll shout that out. Felix Anudike-Uzomah had a couple of decent reps. That's one name I mentioned on 580 Sports Talk on Friday, that, hey, it'd be nice to see him build on the sack from last week. He was going to play a majority of this week too. That's all I got in terms of this game. I hope the various defensive backs who played in this game are renting, not buying, because, I don't necessarily want to see them ever play again. I don't love, and I will admit this, I don't love going into a game being like, who cares? It's whatever. We don't need to, put forth much of an effort. I don't love that, both in terms of optics and just hey, you only get 17 of these. Maybe don't act like that. But that being said, this game meant absolutely, literally, completely nothing for the Kansas City Chiefs. The one thing that this would have meant, Dan, had the Chiefs won, was they'd be just the second team to ever have 16 wins in a regular season. And it wouldn't have even been a perfect season, so who even cares about that? It does nothing for me. Chiefs kept it vanilla. Defense was out there to just not get injured. So what? It is what it is. I had the vast majority of my attention on Kansas basketball playing against UCF today, as opposed to this game. And even that, a 51-point win in Orlando for a Big 12 game, was less of a farce than this game was.
You want to talk about that one instead? Flory Badunga was awesome, man.
Yeah, he was great. He looked good. Rylan Griffin scored in double figures finally. Hunter was untouchable. I don't think Johnny Dawkins scouted for that game. We'll talk about this for whatever version of 580 Sports Talk we air on Monday as this blizzard continues here in Northeast Kansas. But yeah, man, I mean, this game was a joke. It was a fraud. I will say, just to follow your point, I know we're going to get to this anyway, so I might as well just jump to it now. If you think the Chiefs took a dive to avoid the Bengals, you're stupid. It's not a stupid take. You are stupid. Sorry, Don Van Natta. I've liked your work before. You are stupid. Sorry, various folks who work for the Locked On podcasts. You're not intelligent. You're not smart. That's very dumb. The Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls since the last time the Bengals had a meaningful win over Kansas City. Yeah. Shut up. Shut up.
The Chiefs aren't afraid of anybody. They're 15-1 in games where they tried this year. They're back-to-back Super Bowl champions. They're not afraid of anyone. They're not.
Ridiculous.
They're just not. Yeah, nonsense. This idea that, it's shameful the way that the Chiefs lay down. The Chiefs don't owe the Bengals or the Dolphins or even the Broncos anything. They owe to themselves an opportunity to put themselves in the best position possible to try and do something that no NFL team has ever done, to try and make history and win a 3rd straight Super Bowl. And if the way that Andy Reid and the coaching staff feels is the best way to put themselves in position to do that is to give every meaningful player the day off and roll out the most vanilla game plan possible on both offense and defense in Week 18 against a team that is trying, against a team for whom this game does matter, then that's fine. They don't owe the Bengals a thing. They don't owe them anything.
Go back to last season. Travis Kelce had literal NFL history on the line. They could have run one play last year, one intermediate throw to Travis Kelce in the final week of the season would have been NFL history, added to his personal legacy, all of that. And Kelce said, "No, I'm good. I'd rather rest up for the playoffs." Guys, if you think that any sort of narrative nonsense like that is relevant to this Chiefs team, I'm really not interested in having a conversation with you or talking football with you, because you clearly aren't actually focused on the things that matter or the things that this team actually cares about.
Yeah, it's a stupid take. It's a nonsense take. It's bad on all ends. The Chiefs only owe something to the Chiefs. They didn't owe their opponents today anything other than to show up. And they didn't owe the Bengals anything. They didn't owe the Dolphins anything. They've got bigger goals in mind. Those teams scraping and colliding to make the playoffs. Hey, Bengals, maybe don't start 4-8. And you're not in the position that you ended up in today, watching your playoff dreams die at the hands of the Broncos. I'll say this for players that stood out to me, both positive and negative. I'll start with DJ Humphries. That was the guy I was most interested in seeing over the course of 60 minutes, get those reps at left tackle. I thought the results were pretty middling. I thought early in the game he looked pretty good. I thought late in the game, Nick Bonito got his number a couple of times on one-on-ones. Nick Bonito's gotten a lot of guys one-on-one this year.
Good year.
Yeah, he's had a really good year, double-digit sacks. So I thought that DJ Humphries was fine. Is fine good enough to justify putting him in at left tackle in 2 weeks in the divisional round and moving Joe Thuney back inside when the Chiefs were starting to click with Thuney on the outside? That, I think, is the big question. That's the question that Andy Reid and Matt Nagy and Andy Heck get paid all that money to try and answer. Was it a good enough performance? I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was disqualifying by any measure, but it wasn't dominant. Like, if they were looking for him to be dominant and shut out Bonito and keep Carson Wentz's blind side clean the entire game, if they were looking for him to play like an all-pro, otherwise they weren't going to put him in, then he didn't meet that standard. But I thought he was fine for the most part. I thought he was better early than he was late, but it's also his first full NFL game or second full NFL game in 2 years. So there's that as well. You mentioned Kingsley Suamataia moving inside to left guard. Didn't really notice him, which is actually maybe good.
Yeah, you'll take that.
Yeah, there might be some choices that the Chiefs have to make this offseason at guard, and maybe seeing if Kingsley can handle guard better than tackle might have been a worthwhile experience or experiment today. I thought, he was mostly anonymous, which was plenty good. My take that there aren't 32 quarterbacks better in the league right now than Carson Wentz did not age particularly well. Wentz looked terrified. Chris Oladokun, dude, just throw the ball, man. Like, you're never going to play in a real NFL game again. Go cut it loose. Don't scramble for 4 yards on 3rd and 10. The offense, other than that, barely deserves discussing. Over on the defensive side, you mentioned Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I feel like every week he's making a play. He's doing something. That's a positive. That's been a step in the right direction for him as a second year. Maybe they'd hoped he'd have been further along than being a rotational fourth defensive end spot guy at this point in year 2 as a first round pick, the 32nd overall pick. But I do think he's doing something every week that is noticeable, and I think that's positive for him. Najee Johnson, on the other hand, I don't know, man. UPS is hiring. I'm sure, it might be time to find out what Brown can do for you, because when Bo Nix is picking on you with downfield throws, that is an extremely bad sign for your future. Does make you wonder if they're going to activate Steven Nelson off the practice squad, because I don't think they want to be in a position. It's good that Jalen Watson's coming back, but I don't think they want to be in a position where they got to rely on Najee Johnson for significant snaps in the postseason. Other than that, again, just very little to take away from this game. The Chiefs did not submit an effort that really made it worth anyone's time, which is a little bit of a bummer considering how many Chiefs fans were snowed in today and would have maybe enjoyed a 3-hour diversion of a competitive football game. But nope, they rolled out their junior varsity, and they got beat by a Denver team that really, really wanted that. That was the most important Bronco game in a decade, just about. So, they got it done. They're into the playoffs. Your prize is an all-expense trip to Buffalo. So enjoy that. That's going to do it for this Chiefs Instant Reaction, because there is just nothing else to talk about with regards to this game. So we're going to call it good at this point. We will have something for you tomorrow on these video channels at a bare minimum. If we can get to the studio, which is no guarantee given the foot plus of snow that has been dumped on the Topeka area in the last 12, 16 hours, we'll have 580 Sports Talk as scheduled tomorrow from 3 until 6. If not, we'll figure out something to do for you here on this video stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on WIBW News. So either way, join us tomorrow. We'll talk about this game. I've already said my piece. I don't know what else we're going to talk about with regards to this. If we're in studio, Matt Verderam will join us. We'll get him on the horn, our NFL insider. We'll talk some college basketball, KU and K-State both in action this weekend, and a whole lot more. So hope you'll join us for that. Until then, for Brendan Dworzinski, he's over there. I'm Dan Lucero. This has been an instant reaction for the Kansas City Chiefs on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And for God's sake, don't go outside and drive anywhere unless you absolutely have to if you're in Northeast Kansas watching.